All right, let's fire away.
What do you like about Charlie Brewer?
You know, when you look at him statistically, he's right around what Sam is. I think he's like 10 yards more than what Sam's doing. He's 9 TDs, only 2 picks. Sam, he's 11, I think, and pass efficiency wise and in terms of completion percentage, they're very similar. So, we see Sam every day, and we know how dangerous, and he's sneaky fast too. Same way Sam is. He can get out of the pocket, extend plays, and again, he's grown up, and that's probably the biggest thing. That's when I look at both quarterbacks, ours and Charlie, and I say to myself, what a difference a year makes in terms of somebody's maturity and being able to distribute the football. And real smart football player, you can tell they've really done a good job with him getting in and out of plays and making all the throws.
What you like and what didn't you like about the OU game?
Well, I like the turnovers. I think the turnovers were a big part of setting up points, ending up for 10 points, and then I'll put the blame on myself a little bit in the 5-minute mark. We were up by 14 and anticipated them probably trying to push the ball down the field, and we all know how good Kyler is in terms of moving around in the pocket. And through the game, we kind of did some max coverage stuff on him, and he kind of, patted the ball, and sat back out there, and then he could run the football. So my intent off the bench was to come after him. They caught us in, a QB counter play, and we just couldn't get him on the ground. And that was disappointing, but that's on me. I'll take fault for that, and just the way that we finished. So it's been a little bit of a recurring theme. I've talked to you guys about this beforehand, about what we're doing at the tail end of ball games, and we're not going to be able to win a championship by doing those things.
So is that to say you feel like, I don't know, the guys get lax at the end, or?
No, well, I'm more into, in the fourth quarter of trying to stay aggressive. And I think there's some times where probably, let our kids, feel the situation first and then maybe be a little bit more aggressive within the series. So, but I will say there was, in my opinion, there was some plays out there that I thought we hesitated a little bit. Now, that could be because Murray's really fast, and that's a
He's
piece
a
of it.
deal.
Correct. But I still thought, we've got to get comfortable when we're in game on the line moments of just cutting it loose and just trusting that people are going to cover us up. I thought there was a handful of plays that I was like, hey, throw on that guy, get him on the ground, and I thought we tried to play a little bit cautious. So we talked about it, we addressed it right on Sunday, brought him in and say, listen, there's a handful of calls I'd love to get back, but this is my gig. It's going to happen every week, in terms of things I would like to get back. Here's what we need to do to continue these steps to prepare for Baylor, is just don't worry about making mistakes. Just go, because this is the way that I want us to be. I want us to remain aggressive throughout the game, regardless of what the score is.
You've always wanted to see effort plays out of your guys. B.J. Foster being able to get a sack. He's on the ground.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Continues going like this. Yeah, your satisfaction with that.
Yeah, I mean they're growing up as as the games unfold. But really, I mean, to see young guys, 19-year-old kids, do something like that. I've talked about probably Caden a lot, but I really haven't touched on him because we're kind of giving him time, and I don't want to put too much in front of him. But those two guys are really going to be special players. They are. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. The reason why I'm confident in saying that is because I know all the behind-the-scenes stuff that they're doing. They treat their bodies the right way. They're really intelligent guys. They're really active in meetings. On the practice field, they work their tails off. They really care. And that's, put that together with great athletic ability and great vision, you're going to have yourself a special player.
Is there anything that you can take from your matchups, Houston versus Temple in the American Conference? Or
There's some similarities. I'm sure they're saying the same thing. We're a little bit different. This dates back to when I was at UConn. When I was at UConn, we played Temple and we played Coach Roll, and then rolled into Houston to do it. So they've got a pretty good sense of what we're doing, and we have a pretty and Coach Roll he's building that program up to be exactly what they finished up with Temple. I mean, they had a hard-nosed team, and they would run the ball at you, and they had great athletes on the outside. And then especially with a young quarterback growing up and getting him into this system, you're going to continue to see them get better.
I wanted to ask you here at the halfway point of the season, at what point, whether it was training camp or whenever, did you go home at night and feel like, okay, we're going to be a physical unit? that's something I don't have to worry about. 'Cause these guys are good people.
Yeah, I think that's all. I think getting out of spring football, you kind of get your personality.
Mhm.
If you have to really pull teeth for guys to buy into the physical part of it, then it's probably not going to be there all the time. So once you see a group go 15 days with being physical and they bought into it, and I think that's probably kind of us as a program now is, our calling card has to be that, our toughness and our hardness give us a chance to win every ball game if we can go out there and execute it in a manner. So I think, ever since Herm has stepped in here, because we've all been with him when we were at Houston, that was the one thing that's like kind of non-negotiable,
Right.
is you're not going to get on the field unless you want to give great effort and you want to be physical. So I think the kids kind of look around and they see that and they say, my chance to play here would increase if I'm going to be physical, and that's just the way our program is.
So how does that bleed into, the guys all talk about Toughness Tuesday, and I know that's the toughest day of the week.
Yeah,
for
it does,
us, but why
because-
do y'all stress that?
Because it's our day to kind of like sharpen our sword and to say like, okay, this is our culture day. We're going to call on our physicality on Saturday. So how do we train that? And a lot of guys, sit there on Tuesday and maybe they might not go to just uppers
Right.
but we say, hey, we're going to go full pads and we're going to keep this as like, this is our ace in the hole. Like, when things are going really, really bad, we can always count on this. It should always be in our arsenal of tools to bring to Saturday. So that's what we do. We really stress that part of it to say like,
Yeah.
okay, you can't go, 3 or 4 weeks without contact and expect to go in week 5 and say we're going to be physical. So that day is kind of our culture day.
Since the Maryland game, what did you change or emphasize that y'all won 5 in a row?
Yeah, I don't know if we've really changed. I've kind of a little bit in terms of the stuff that I think we can execute. Maryland was such a unique offense, but I think getting out of that game was kind of a wake-up call for everybody that, I don't know if it was, hey, listen, we've got to do things better, but we really haven't changed what we've done. I think we've done it better, and I think there's become more urgency in the way that we work, and just the expectations when you fail right off the bat. I think there's I really like the way our kids responded, to that, because sometimes you look at it and your head's down and you start feeling sorry for yourself and you start pointing fingers. We never did that. We just kept working, and then things started to work for us. And we're getting the ball. We're not turning the football over with. We're running the football. We're doing a decent job with the run game outside OU, but that was more schematical than anything else. So there's a lot of field position stuff, a lot of the game of football that we are playing better, which I think is leading us to more success.
And more dime,
What's that?
and more dime.
Yeah, we're doing more dime, and to us, it's really what we waited on B.J. Foster a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a young guy, and we wanted to see him grow up a little bit before we put him in the heat. We didn't want him to fail just because we want to put him out there so we can say we play dime, and he's making a whole bunch of plays for us. So we'll keep him in there.
How fast is Josh Thompson?
Oh boy, well, I would probably, if I had to guess, probably in the mid 4.3s, somewhere around there, maybe high 4.3s on a clock. We do a thing on Thursday practice, Chip, and it's the fastest guy down the field on kickoffs, and he wins it probably by 2 or 3 yards versus all the top speed guys in our group, so he can roll.
How's he doing?
Good. He's doing good. It's once again, he was a unique nickel because he will be physical at times, but he's more of that cover slot nickel than he is like a PJ Lock that can trigger and throw. But he is getting better at being physical, and we have zero problems with him being in the ball game. He's just behind a pretty good player.
How many years being able to get to the quarterback the past few games? Is he doing anything differently, or things just kind of working out?
No, I think they're just working out for him. I think he's he continues to get better and practice at it. And I think it's just situational. Everybody was a little bit panicky about, how come we don't got sacks and how come we don't do this? Well, the ball's out quite fast with him. But when we've done a good job in the back end of covering guys up, we've given him time to get to the quarterback. So I think it's a little bit of his opportunities and us in the back end doing a good job of covering people.
Their receivers as good as y'all's 2 big ones?
Yeah, Mims is real deal. Going back from last year, watching him on tape, and his ability to run to go along with his size and his catch radius is as good as our guys. There's no doubt about it. So I mean, it's what, and Charlie's throwing the ball to them, and they're usually lined up as single receivers and one-on-one battles, and they've got a really creative scheme to get those guys the football. So, fortunately for us, we've got taller guys. Those guys matched up versus 5'9", 5'10" corners. It's you can't win. So at least we have a chance, and that's why we recruit bigger body corners, longer corners. So when you catch somebody like this, or like our guys with LJ and Colin, I mean, you have a chance to be able to defend them, because those guys will just jump right over top of you.
Does Hurd
What time was the
present?
last ones?
Does Hurd present a different kind of challenge
Yeah.
since he used to be a running back?
Yeah, he does, because they play him in the slot and he can muscle through people. Slots equal safeties, and most safeties aren't real big. Like, our guys aren't really big until you get to like Caden, even with Brandon. So they can get up the field and they can use their body position to kind of box you out. So they do cause some problems. And he's got so many years. He's got to be 23 years old. I don't know. When I was at Utah State, he was at Tennessee as a tailback. It dates back, 4 or 5 years ago. So he's been around this game, a long time. So he's got a lot of experience. And guys with experience play really, really loose, and they make a lot of plays.
They line him up in the
Last one?
backfield, don't they?
They'll mix match. They'll try to get him the football in different types of way, because he does have that skill set.
And did y'all see less jet sweeps since Maryland? Do you think you?
I
probably
don't know.
need to see more?
I think we saw them in week 2, 3, and 4, and I
Yeah.
thought we got them on the ground. So I think it's one of those things where if it's a constant thing that you can't play him, you're going to see him every week. And I think they settled down a little bit, because we did get them on the ground for 1 or 2 yards,
Right.
and I think people said, okay, they've kind of figured this out.
Thanks, Todd.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Whatever 100% is, I am.
How you feeling? I mean, tell us all about it. What happened here?
It's crazy, just had an infection that ran wild on me a
Yeah.
little bit. And, I went in Wednesday after practice a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
high temp, infection. They had to get my body down, kept me overnight. Next day, they wanted to do surgery on the elbow, clean out the infection, make sure it wasn't getting into the bones and things like that. Wouldn't let me travel
Yeah.
because of that, because they kept it open, draining it.
But that was a win. I mean, that was Manhattan. That was a
Well,
win for you.
I know, but that's still, it's
To be away from the
first
team.
time I missed practice anything in 30 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So it was hard. Really hard on my wife, because I was angry and it took a lot out on her. But I just kept sitting in the hospital like, this is an elbow. Like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
an elbow. I can't fly because of an elbow. And then eventually I was on a drip line IV, tried to change it to get me into oral medicine to get me out. It didn't take. So they had to keep me back in and re-administer the ID. That's why I didn't get out when I thought I would. And so now I have an infusion, which is basically like a time release medicine in me.
Right.
Basically, is
Wow.
what it is for next
Holy smokes.
How many
It'll
days
go-
were you in?
5.
5?
I think 5. And I'll go back next week to the doctor, the guy
Sure.
who did the infusion, and they'll look at it and see. Elbow's clearing up good.
Yeah.
I think I get the stitches out tomorrow or Friday from the surgery. So that part's good. And I'm getting better. I'm getting my resistance back, because your body battles that all
Sure,
the time.
yeah.
So I had good days and bad days over the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
You know how you
Said
got it?
even during that, you were on your laptop in the hospital room.
Yeah, a lot of shout out to St. David's, man. They didn't have the TV, they didn't have the game on. So I was like, they wheeled in a 50-inch with an Apple TV so I could watch the game. So, because I was really going to be hot. But,
But you checked yourself out.
yeah.
What's it like as an offensive coordinator,
It was-
in part of play calls, not being able to do?
It was crazy.
your team?
It was crazy because, when you watch it, you can't really see. So I couldn't see what coverage, they might show a close up of Sam or
Yeah.
Colin Johnson or something. And I'm like, God, what coverage was that? And should he have thrown the ball there? And should he have checked this play or whatever? So it was really hard. It was good that we got out early on them. I was a little more relaxed because of that. I saw us playing fast and playing well. So But it was a good win. It was good to see.
You do any hospital bed, second guessing, quarterbacking? Monday
No,
morning
just
quarterback.
yelling. My
yell.
blood pressure was going up. Nurse had to come in and say I missed that deep post ball.
That's what I was asking you. Do you get any sort of different perspective when you're here every day with these guys, but then you got to watch it on TV? Do you see anything differently?
Not really. I really didn't. I kind of had a vision of what we were doing because, for the most part, Wednesday, most of the plan's in.
Right.
So Thursday's refining it, Friday's a walkthrough, and then you play on Saturday. So, I kind of knew what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. So that part was okay. It just was hard not being there, not being involved. You feel like you let them down when you can't be there and you work as hard as you do to be around it. And then, like I kept saying, I'm like, it's just an elbow. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a car wreck or something. There's a lot more serious things. Unfortunately, I guess this was serious enough that they wouldn't let me do it. But
So what was then being back in the booth for you versus Oklahoma like?
yeah, it was good. Felt like being home, for sure, and being around the guys again. I eased my way back into it last week, certainly, because like I said, I had good days and bad days coming back, but I feel pretty strong this week so far. But it was good. It was good to be back.
Tim, what y'all changed since the Maryland loss offensively?
What did we change?
Yeah.
I think that, a couple of things, and we talked about this after the game. It's a different group. I think we play looser because it's okay to throw an incompletion. I think the team trying to be perfect, trying to not make mistakes.
Yeah.
I alluded to it like we were so worried about being assignment sound against Maryland, and we were, but
Yeah.
maybe we weren't blocking them, or maybe we weren't, executing or playing fast or finishing plays. Where now we just play fast, and guess what? If I miss the guy,
Yeah.
okay, but maybe the running back's going fast and outruns him, or we'll get him on the next play and correct it. And so there seems to be a little bit more ease offensively with our guys to be like, okay, we'll get him next time, as opposed to, oh my gosh, like now what?
And you try to run Sam a little more because that's his strength, and
Well,
just let him be Sam.
I'll be honest, I think he enjoys it.
Yeah.
I think it gets him into the game more. And that was one of the things
Right.
that we all knew and we all talked about a little bit, was like he gets some swagger going when he gets hit or he runs somebody over or something like that. You
Right.
see him, he starts playing with confidence, and he's a lot better when he plays that way than he is when he plays cautious.
Early in the season, you get a lot of questions about, what's going to be y'all's identity,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think this is going to be an offense that hits home runs, but y'all just grind on people. That's what y'all are doing. Is that what this is going to be?
Well,
Maybe with this coaching staff.
Yeah, and I think first of all, I think we've hit big plays. I think we have hit some. Now maybe they're not the 80-yard touchdowns, but we've had a lot of 30, 20 to 40 yarders,
Right.
more so this year than last year,
Mhm.
which gets you a little bit of momentum, which allows you to get into some rhythm, which changes the field position on one play, So I think that part of it, but also what you alluded to is just the grind of it. We just keep going and going and going, and it's been evident. We've finished a lot of games on the field this year, and that's a true testament to the coaches, to our players, of just staying the course, and that's the 1-0 mentality Coach Herman talks about all the time. It's just, and they finish.
Right.
We all sat here last offseason and all said we got to finish, and that's been a big part of it for us this year.
I asked the guys this, how much, can it be overstated, the importance of y'all finishing in victory formation those 4 straight weeks?
That was awesome.
And the psychology of that?
That's great. I mean, that's for everybody involved. I mean, I think the whole team, it's the best play to call in football, victory.
Can you explain the whole poker chip thing and how that came up?
I think we just Coach talked about being all in. I know Derek Wareheim alluded to playing poker, and just being able to put all your chips in and feel confident about it. You can't think about it. You guys probably have all at some point either really played it or played it with buddies or whatever. And when you're going to put all of it in, you're putting it all in, and you're going to let it ride and say,
Mm-hmm.
heck with it, here we go, let's go, and you can't look back.
Right.
You can't go, I'm all in, but only let me only put half in,
Right.
and so that's been kind of the mentality through it.
And how often does everybody get chips every day, or for,
They earn them through the course of the week, and then
yeah, and how do they earn them?
just through practice, the way they go through practice.
Herman mentioned on Monday that after Maryland, he told Sam, like, hey, you don't have to worry about looking over your shoulder.
Right.
Does that, compared to last year where it seems like that kind of was a possibility, did that make things easier to recover from this Maryland loss compared to last one?
Yeah, you know, I don't think it's just Sam. You know, I don't. It's everybody. It's O-line playing better, running backs and wide receivers. I think that's some of it. You know, we talked about it and we said, hey, you know, Sam was our starting quarterback versus Maryland. We didn't lose the game because of Sam Ellinger, and we're not going to all of a sudden kick him to the curb because of that. We're going to give him his opportunities and watch him continue to grow and develop, which he has, and he needs to continue to do that. He'll be the first one to tell you that. So that, I think that's part. It's still just the makeup of the team. It's the chemistry. It's the closeness of the group. It's the all-in. It's those things. Our culture versus other cultures, and that's the buy-in. It's even this week. It's really about us. It's really not who we play, where we play them, what time we play them. It's what we have to do. And if we do what we have to do, we got a great chance of being successful.
Y'all attacking the middle of the field more than y'all did last year.
A little bit.
Why is that? Just because with Beck, or what?
Part of it, you know, last year, Cade came on as a true freshman late. Weren't really sure what he can do. We didn't really have that threat in the middle of the field like we do this year with him. And also with getting, you know, guys are doubling or playing what we call cloud coverage at calling a little bit, which opens up the middle of the field.
And playing LJ in the slot helps.
Sure it does. You got one on each side, and they got to figure out what to do there.
Right.
At this point in the year, kind of who's redshirting, who's playing is kind of clear. Y'all still have that scout team. Who are some of the guys that may not have seen the field during games but have performed well on scout during practice?
You know, I've heard quite a few guys. You know, I think both quarterbacks have done a nice job. Casey and Cameron have done good things. I know Alvonte Woodard, Malcolm Epps have done a lot of good things. The offensive line group, you know, Junior, all those guys, Christian Jones, Reese, all those guys have done a nice job. I've heard good things about that group coming back to us, and so that, you know, that's promising as well, because we still got a young, talented football team still growing here.
Time for a couple last
You're
ones.
getting a lot of protection for Sam, and
Yeah, and you know,
Happy with
we're
that.
better up front, you know,
Yeah.
but also some of it's because they know what they're doing more. I mean,
Right.
because you know, it's like, if you guys remember, I used the analogy. We watched the Maryland game, and I'm sitting there with Shane and Sam. We're watching the tape, like, oh my gosh, coach, I couldn't believe I didn't flip that protection. I couldn't believe, like, because they've learned the offense better, so they're protecting themselves better. So if 4 guys are blitzing here in 2017, and I'm blocking them with 2, we're going to give up a sack. But now if I'm blocking them with 4 and they're rushing 4, we're not. So it's a mixture. The offensive line's playing better. They're seeing things. They're able to communicate because they've played in games together. Those guys have been by each other for a long time. This isn't merry-go-round offensive line like last year. That helps. And then you got a quarterback back there that gets it. He's protecting himself, and he knows how to do it. And he's getting us in good plays at good times, and he's protecting the football. It's usually a pretty good recipe for success.
he changing many plays. He audibilized him very much.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot more than last year.
Oh, yeah. A lot more.
Last one?
Yeah.
Anything else?
All good?
Awesome. And
Thanks.
just quickly, thank you for all the prayers and everything. Really appreciate that. That was very kind for all the fans and all you guys reaching out to me. I really do appreciate that, and we'll go out and get a good one this week. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.